behind this event is to bring together civic actors, young people, and citizens with focus on elections coming up in four West African countries. But if I continue, just like I mentioned, I will appeal that we introduce ourselves in the chat box so that we can have a brief about ourselves. So basically the name and the name and our country. If I continue also, I would like to recognize members from the partner organization. I mean, members from Innovation for Change Africa Hub. I have here with me, I have Chizi, I have Aquilos, I have Joseph, Frederick. I have Frederick.
Fred will be joining us in a little bit. But I see Njambi is here, so we could go ahead to Njambi.
Okay, thank you. So please, I would like members from the partner organization to briefly introduce themselves.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jambi Wagasha. I'm the regional I4C manager for Hub Afrique, or Africa Hub. I welcome you all today, and we're glad to be having this session and discussing elections in West Africa. Over to you.
Thank you, Jambi.
Did you want us, the other team members?
Yes, I want other team members to introduce themselves. So before we go into the opening remark.
Yeah, Fred, go ahead.
Okay, so hi everyone, I'm Frederick Adu, and I work with the Africa Hub as the program management assistant. I'm based in Côte d'Ivoire, in Abidjan.
Thank you, Frederick.
Hi, everyone. My name is Aquilas Baraza. I'm based in Nairobi, Kenya. I work for I4C Africa Hub. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joseph.
Everybody.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joseph Kabiro. I work as for Innovation for Change Africa Hub as the Advocacy and Communications Manager. Officer. Glad to meet all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Before we go into the opening remark, I would like to introduce our interpreter. Her name is Emilia Miki. She's from Cameroon.
Sorry, we have our colleague Chichi. If she's here, I think our colleague Cheza.
Okay, Cheza, I thought she has introduced herself.
Afternoon, everybody. My name is Cheza Chipoto. I'm a program officer with the Africa Hub based in Zimbabwe.
Thank you, Cheza. Apologies.
Ok, hello.
Hey.
Ok, moi c'est Madame Ousseini Zainab Mouskaka depuis le Niger.
Thank you. Thank you. We've been able to hear from the partner organization, Innovation for Change Africa Hub. We'll move straight to the opening remark from the regional program manager, Innovation for Change Africa, Njabi Wagacha. Thank you very much.
So welcome everyone again today. We're very happy to be actually having this conversation with you. It's very timely. It's a year between now and 2021 where West Africa will be experiencing elections. So we're really having this conversation at the right time. And just a little background on Innovation for Change Africa. We launched in 2017, for those of you who don't know. Our goals are to strengthen, protect, restore, and recover civil society space. We've been working around these areas for a couple of years now, and we've established a couple of activities and programs around these key areas. And we've been looking to collaborate and exchange ideas with other partners in the region, social innovators and social entrepreneurs and civic space advocates on how to face the challenges that the continent is currently facing. We're focused on addressing homegrown African solutions to civic space challenges, and this is what we've been working towards. And our members really have been given access to the latest thinking, collaborations, resources, and it's become a vital space for the exchange of these ideas, regional ideas, as well as social innovation. So that's a little background on us. As I mentioned, the elections is a big aspect of what we cover, as well as campaigning. And we know that this year there's a couple of elections planned to take place in West Africa. We have Cote d'Ivoire up for elections, we have Togo, we have Benin, we have Niger, we have Guinea, and we have Burkina Faso. So those are a lot of countries between this year and 2021 that will be facing a democratic process that could be, altering to the whole governance structure. So, and we follow strictly a Civicus monitor. Civicus is one of our main partners, and we collaborate very strongly with them on civic space issues. And they measure civic space around 5 categories. They consider civic space to be measured along oppressed, narrowed, obstructed, restricted, and closed spaces. So the countries that I mentioned could easily fall into any of these categories, depending on how the democratic process goes. And CSOs have a huge role to play in this, in the upcoming elections, whether we like it or not. This is a space that we need to occupy and be very attentive to, because we have a huge role to play in monitoring and reporting on human rights violations and the situation on the ground, as well as advocating for human rights and providing support to CSOs and human rights activists that will be working in these different countries and trying to push for democratic change to happen. And when we talk about elections, we're talking about upholding civic space and upholding civil society, as well as civic rights. So it's really an area that we need to move towards working very strongly as a community and as a network towards. And we're hoping that it'll illuminate a lot of the challenges and the areas that we've been working along all these years. And we look forward to hearing what the panelists and the members who joined us on this call today have to add and contribute to this discussion. I think it'll be a very illuminating and very enlightening discussion that we have prepared for today. And I'm very excited to hear about everyone's views. Change is coming, and it's we're at a crossroads for many of us. Unfortunately, the electoral process in Africa hasn't always turned out the best, and West Africa being the case. We had a coup in Mali a couple of years ago. And so, we don't want the electoral process to fall into a corruption sort of situation, nor do we want it to be faced by a lack of social trust. And democracy is built on social trust. So if that doesn't exist, then how do we move forward, and how do we establish the transparent and accountable governance structures that uphold these elections and that can bring back the equity deserved of citizens that are participating in this very crucial democratic process? And the fear is, if we don't uphold these democratic systems, we could easily fall into radical and authoritarian kind of regimes and alternatives if we're not very careful. So I hope that we can share and exchange best practices and come to a place where we can discuss how West Africa is going to move forward at this particular crossroads in its particular history. So I look forward to discussing these crucial areas with all of you, and I'm very excited to meet and discuss these issues with all of you. And I welcome you today, and thank you for your participation. Over to you, Oyemukun.
Thank you very much, Jabi. That was a very, very awesome remark and very, very enlightening. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate. Before I call my co-moderator, Chineye, I'd like to introduce our panelists. Okay, before we introduce our panelists, the next item on our agenda is a brief about the event and the partners. So I will call on Frederick to give us a brief about the event and innovation for change.
Yeah. So thank you, Mikun. We started hosting this series of events since now I think 2 months. So we hosted one in North Africa, in Central Africa. Now we are in West Africa. So basically, it's to give this space and platform to CSOs and activists, so as to be able to discuss issues that are going on in the region. So when we look at the West Africa region, we noticed that what is currently going on is around elections. So how CSOs can contribute, but at the same time, how during this elections period, the civic space is restricted. Then together here, what can we find as solutions? Because beyond a mere discussion or describing the situation, we want to finally be able to be solutions, because elections will come in a few years again. How are we going to deal with that as CSOs, as activists? So this is why we are giving this platform to West African CSOs so that they can, let's say, start developing ideas. As you know, our name is Innovation for Change, so we like working on always the social innovation, and social innovation is what comes from people. So here today, you will have the opportunity to share some ideas, share what you have been thinking about, what we can do during elections period, so as to give the possibility to CSOs, give more space to CSOs to work, and also, strengthen the work of CSOs during elections period, so that they can be able to protect the rights of the vulnerable and also continue their work normally. So this is why we are here today, and we have been organizing this kind of activity in different regions based on the needs and the situation going on there. So we are in West Africa today to discuss elections, civic space, restrictions, laws. So as Njambi said, we are really looking forward to an exciting discussion and also solutions. Thank you.
Thank you, Frederick. Before we move to the panelists, we are calling on Matthew from Civic. He has a short presentation on mapping of elections in West Africa. After that, we're going to have our panel session. We're going to have our panelists. I hope our panelists are getting set for the panel session. Matthew from Civic.
Hi, Frederick. Hello, all. So what I would like to do is briefly introduce the Civicus Monitor, which provides close to real-time civic space ratings across 196 countries. And that includes all of West Africa as well. And one of the things I wanted to do today was to show you one of the resources which is available to all users of the site. And I can do so with a screen share. Am I able to begin sharing my screen, Frederick? Is there a button that I can press to enable this?
Can Matthew share his screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see that?
Let's see. I can't see an option yet to share my screen.
The settings permit all participants to share screen.
Okay, yes, great.
Okay.
It's now coming through. Hopefully you can see my screen. Can you please indicate if it's successful?
Yes, Matt.
We can see.
Super. So maybe you've come across this resource before. This is the Civicus Monitor. which again provides a global assessment of civic freedoms. And each of these countries on the map are clickable, which takes you to an individual country page where you have a news stream of the latest country updates, which include information on the state of freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, and freedom of association. And one of the things we're able to do with these maps is they can be embedded across other platforms. So when we work with a lot of journalists and the press that are reporting on an election, we often offer them to embed these country profiles within the news article that they're producing. Likewise, a lot of our partners embed these country profiles on their own pages. And here's an example of what these custom regional and national specific maps look like. So this is one that we've created for all of West Africa. And when you embed it on another site, it is clickable and it gets updated in real time. So by embedding this on another site, you're able to drive traffic to this resource and this news stream of civic space updates. So there is just an example of how that embed and redirect works. If this resource would be of interest to you and your organizations, all you do is you go to the homepage of monitor.civicus.org, and below the map, there's a button, a functionality where you can get the embed code. And then you transfer that over to your web editor, your content management system for whichever article or page you want to embed a map in. So that's a general overview of the functionality. I'll show just as a sample. Here are, again, regional specific maps, country specific, and they're for any country grouping in the world. And if one is missing from our menu, feel free to contact us and we can create an additional bespoke map if you're interested in publishing it on your respective websites. So that's a general tutorial and demo of this tool. And yes, happy to provide more information in the chat box and provide my email if you have any questions. Back to you, Frederick.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Great presentation. Okay, I would like to call on Chineye, the co-moderator, as he introduces our panelists. Chineye, are you there?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon once again, everyone. So I think we should just dive in right into the discussions. Just call up the panelists and they go ahead to speak as they have already introduced themselves. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So we want to start with Yaya Dama from Burkina Faso. Is Yaya here?
Yes, hello, I'm here. Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi, Yaya.
Yes, hi, how are you?
I hope I got your name right. Fine, thank you. So going by the already laid background of the discussion and what the topic is about, we just want to delve into the panel discussion straight away. the panelists had already introduced themselves, so we already know the panelists that will be discussing.
No, they've not introduced themselves.
Oh, not all of them. Okay, okay. Sorry about that. Okay, so let me quickly run through it. So we have Yaya Dama from Burkina Faso. And we have Essan Emily Ako from Cote d'Ivoire. Essan, are you here?
Yes, I'm around.
Okay.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome.
Thank you, Essan.
Okay, we have from Ghana, Amo Afua Sefa Cecilia.
Hello.
Welcome, Cecilia.
If that's fine.
Yes, hello, I'm here. Hello, everybody. Thank you.
And we have David Osabute, sorry, from Ghana.
Hey, hi everyone. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm going to ask my lawyers to call you for pronouncing my name
No, I got
wrongly.
it right, David Osabute. I got it right.
That's fine. Hello everyone. Great to connect with you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We have Zainab Musa Kaka.
Hi.
Yeah.
Salut à tous. Heureuse d'être parmi vous sur cette plateforme.
I welcome Zainab.
Thank you.
And last not the least, from Nigeria, Arume. Again.
Good afternoon, Africa. Bonsoir, everybody. It's great to be part of this conversation.
Okay, you're all welcome. The audience, these are our panelists for today that will be discussing our topic, shrinking civic space and electoral threats, the way forward for West Africa. So, Ayo, can I go ahead with the discussion?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. So I want to start from Burkina Faso. Yeah.
Okay.
Welcome again. So,
thank you.
Yeah, based on the background and the already laid background from Innovation for Change and from Civicus, we all know that the elections of Burkina Faso is coming up this November, and this the second election after the 2014 uprising, and of course there are cases of conflict in some parts of the country. Is there a likelihood of the citizens in some of these areas not being able to, participate in the election?
Yes.
Okay, can you enlighten us more on that here?
Okay, hi everyone. As she said, my name is Yaya Dama and I'm from Burkina Faso. I didn't have the chance to introduce myself. I am the founding foundation, and also I am Obama African. So it's a great honor to join you for this conversation. I'm from a French-speaking country, but I will speak English because I like the language and I'm teaching it as a second language in higher schools in Burkina Faso. It's a great pleasure to be with you. So coming back to your question, you are right, because very soon on November the 22nd, we'll have our presidential and legislative election. And the situation is not as we used to have because of insecurity, terrorist attacks. We have like many areas where we are not really sure that we may be able to hold elections because of the issue of security. This is, it's true. And if you have, if you follow the current news, recently our government or the parliament vote a law according to which, for example, in case of emergencies or some exceptional circumstances, preventing the organization of election in certain areas due to the issue of terrorist attacks, accepted or validated on the basis of the polling stations that have been opened. And this is a very big issue because it means that it's just a few people who will elect the president on behalf of a majority of people. Like we have many people who unfortunately won't be able to fulfill their civic rights of voting their president because the issue of security. And that issue, that new electoral code is not really welcome. It's not the welcome in other areas, mainly the different part of the country. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Hello. Please go ahead.
Thank you. So I was saying that the issue is serious because for the coming election, we are not sure that all the Burkinabe people will be able to vote because of the issue of security. And we have many areas of the country where they won't be able to vote. This is a very, situation which is not good. And part of that, in terms of like action of the government to prevent the citizen to vote, on that side, we can see that there is no political for election or the power, the government in charge of but the main issue in our country. And now all the citizens, most of the election won't be able to vote. So this is right now.
Hello, Yaya. Hello.
I think we lost him there. I think it's the connectivity.
Okay.
So there's no problem. Yes. Yes, connect. Let's see if you want to react on that. So I can continue on other aspects of the issue. Hello?
Hello, yes. Your network is a bit unstable. So
yes, that's right. That's why yes, okay. I have not even activated my camera because I'm
trying to keep it as stable as possible. Okay. So we hold up from there. We talk to or can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We heard what you talked about, the issues of people not being able to vote in those parts of the country and to reduce the number of eligible voters who would vote on the day. Apart from the issue of not being able to vote, are there other human rights concerns towards the election?
Okay, talking about human rights, now we can say that we have big problem of human rights now in our country because of what? I will maybe try to tell you, if you take the situation of Burkina Faso, before the year 2014, we had like our former president, the former president, whose name is Blaise Compaoré. So, Burkina was ruled by that president for 27 years. And during his time or his term, so things were not really easy because of the fact that there were a lot of violation of human rights in terms of freedom of expression and certain types of bad activities or unlawful situations. But thanks to the action of the citizen in 2014, that situation changed because of the popular insurrection that happened in 2014, which led to the election of a civic person who is our current president, Rochmar Christian Kabore, who is about to finish his term. So the situation have changed in terms of the respect of human rights. So now we can say that in the problem of human rights in our country. And the big problem that we have is the issue of terrorism, which is common, if not really saying that prevents the citizens to fulfill their civil rights. We can't really say that like this because more and more things are changing thanks to the social network like social media, like Facebook, for example, to give their opinion on certain things. So which like put a pressure on the decision makers or the leaders to react and also do things as the citizens are expecting. So we can say that totally people are having everything, but we can say that we are a little bit satisfied in terms of respect of human rights now in our country. So for sure, the issue of terrorism is limiting certain action of people in terms of fulfilling their rights, but we can't say that this is due, for example, to the government, which prevent the citizens to fulfill their rights. So for the coming election, in terms of perspectives, we are not worrying a lot about the non-respect of human rights in terms of preventing them to vote. So the problem is not there. This is what I can say about the current situation in our country, because all the political parties are allowed to go for the election, which was not the case in the past years. Yes.
Thank you very much, Yaya.
You are welcome.
Information. Cote d'Ivoire. That's Esan Emil Ako. I hope I got the name right.
Well, it's okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Ako. Ako is Emil from Cote d'Ivoire. I'm an activist and also a professional in the field of peace building. I'm currently based in the DRC. I'm currently even at the border of Lake Tanganyika, just at the border with Burundi and the DRC. I would like to speak a little bit about what you know already, meaning our pandemics in West Africa, which is third terms. Okay, third terms, as you know, is a threat against democracy, and unfortunately in our countries, in Cote d'Ivoire and in Guinea, it looks like we are not learning from our past. So in general, as you know, West Africa has made little progress when it comes to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and especially during the electoral period.
Hello, Esan. Hello. Can you hear me? Hello, Esan, are you still there? Okay, like we lost him there. Hello, Esan. Okay, while we wait for him to come back, want to talk to Ama Afowa Sepa Cecilia from Ghana. Hello, Cecilia.
That's better. It is Amwafoa, Sifa Cecilia.
Amwafoa.
So, Amwafoa.
Yes, Amwafoa. Okay.
Sifa Cecilia. So, I'm a Ghanaian and I'm a writer and a teacher. When it comes to the political landscape, we know that Ghana, we have tried.
Okay, so I have a question for you, actually. I have a question for you. I want you to give us a perspective of women inclusion in the elections in Ghana this December. What would you say about it? Do you think that women are carried along? Women are allowed to, exercise their rights to vote and be voted for? How is generally women's participation in the electoral process this 2020 election?
I think it is better. It's getting better. Not as much as we would want it to be, but it is picking up with the emergence of the women's group or women's advocates from the Pepperdams to all the others. And with the election of, or is it the nomination of Nana Opoku-Agyeman as the opposition's vice, people are really gingered up. All the women's group are happy and enthused. It has gained international recognition and people are talking about it a lot. Also, we have Bridget Joker, who is also contesting as the president. We have, well, some will say she's a comic figure, Ekwadonko, who is also contesting because she is not that educated, but she's still there. There's women inclusion. As to whether that is enough, that's the problem now. And I'm sure that we'll do better with time because the education of women is on the rise.
Yeah, I was going to ask, was this as a result of policies that were put in place prior to the elections, or more sensitization for the women to get involved in the process? So what would you say about that? Do you think it's because of conscious sensitization or because of some policies that were put in place, or the parties allowing freedom of association for the women? So I know I have 3 questions. Like,
I think, okay, that's fine. I think sensitization will be the top on my list because for some few years now, all we've been hearing about is women empowerment. And it especially with the emergence of the Pepperdams, who actually challenged the societies here. So it's anger because, women are supposed to be submissive, subservient to men. And all of a sudden, there's this group that's insulting, like turning everything down. So they were flipping the scripts as they said it in their own words. So people became very, very interested. And, Ghanaians have very educated women now. It's just that I think it was because of, the culture of seeing men as natural leaders that most women were backsliding. But now the sensitization is doing well. I don't think enough has been done by the government, except, few nominations here and there. But I believe everything that's going on is because of the sensitization, and thanks to the advice.
Okay, thank you very much. David Osabute. So still talking to Ghanaians. David Osabute. Hi, David. Hello, David. It's like he's gone off. Okay, so I also want to, while we wait for David to return, just one more question for you. So I read on BBC News that that the police chief telling the police officers to get themselves ready and be more conscious of happenings and all of that. So are there fears that there may be violence in the elections? That what may have warranted the police chief to call the officers to be more conscious and adjust their lifestyle before the election. So are they like fear of violence or toward the election?
There's a high fear of violence now. Actually, that has been a major concern in Ghana of late, because political vigilantism is on the rise. You have, it is a multi-party system, but it has been reduced to a two-party system. The NDC and the MPP, that's the incumbent. So it's some way. Each of the major political parties have vigilante groups they claim protect them. So many violence attached to these groups, although they've passed an act, the Vigilante Act against such things, and people could be jailed for 10 to 15 years if caught. Nothing has been done because even the opposition, as of February, failed to sign the act to power this particular act. So it is very worrying. People are really scared. What happened during the electoral, what do we call, commission's registration was also a problem. If you were following in the Volta region, there were, and a few other places, there were reports of abuse, human rights abuse, and all that. So we have been lucky so far, but because of all these vigilante groups, from the Delta forces of the MPP to the Hawks and all those, there are so many of them springing up at each point in time. And these politicians rely so much on them. So I think if care is not taken, we will end up like Japan, who work side by side. The gangsters work side by side, the police. Now, I hope we don't do that because, if power grows, it can overtake. And before long, these vigilante groups can turn into something else. So yes, we are really a bit anxious. Those of us who know, we see danger when we see it, and it is not looking that good. So he was right to put it that way, to prepare his men.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Okay, so I like to call on Zainab. Hello, Zainab from Niger.
Hello.
Okay. Okay. I just, flowing from what other panelists have been saying, I want to ask, are they, the present state now, are they threats to human rights defenders like you, journalists, or the citizens, towards the election? Are they threats to, or fear, or violence, or attack on defenders and journalists with respect to the coming elections?
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Please, could you repeat the question?
Okay. So I'm saying, are there fears? Human rights defenders like civil society, journalists, and the citizens generally, are there fear of violence, that people being afraid of being attacked, before the election, or being afraid to speak about what they don't like or what is happening? Do you think people are afraid towards the elections
Okay.
So just give us your perspective.
Okay. So I come from a Francophone country, so I am going to speak to French.
Okay.
My English is not very well.
Okay.
Ok, donc mon nom c'est Madame Hussein Zainab Mouskaka, je suis la coordinatrice de l'ONG New Challenge, Empower Girl and Women. Donc, je ne vais pas trop m'attarder sur ce que nous faisons. Je vais aller droit au but quant à la question qui m'a été posée. Donc, en ce qui concerne la participation des femmes et des journalistes dans le contexte politique au Niger, Et je peux dire que beaucoup a été fait et beaucoup est en train d'être fait. En réalité, la prise de conscience est là et surtout, les femmes ont leur mot à dire de nos jours. Il y a eu beaucoup d'activités qui ont été organisées. Il s'agit du renforcement de capacités, de l'implication de la femme dans les instances de prise de décision. Donc, en amont, avant les élections au Niger, beaucoup d'activités ont été faites par les organisations de la société civile. Et c'est dans ce sens que, par exemple, notre organisation, nous sommes en train d'organiser un forum pour l'implication de la jeune fille. Nous, on ne parle même plus de la femme, on parle de la jeune fille. C'est-à-dire que nous, on ne veut pas que, c'est pas qu'on veut que le genre soit respecté, non, mais on veut que les jeunes filles, genre les plus jeunes, soient intégrées dans les instances de prise de décision. Et au-delà de cela, et dans le cadre de du 25e anniversaire des Nations Unies au Niger, une table conférence a été organisée avec tous les partenaires, tous les décideurs sur le rôle de la jeunesse et de la femme dans les élections futures, si je peux le dire. Donc là, nous sommes en train, les femmes, vraiment, on ne peut pas, au Niger en tout cas, on ne peut pas dire que la femme n'a pas son mot à dire. Non, non. Elle a plutôt son mot à dire. Elle est encouragée. Maintenant, c'est quant à la redistribution des postes que les choses se bloquent, quoi. Si vous me suivez. Allô?
Hello, yes.
Oui, je ne sais pas, vous arrivez à me suivre? Oui, vous arrivez à me suivre?
My French is not good at all. So,
nous te suivons.
Yes, we are following. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if maybe she understood what we were asking her.
No. Yes. Hello, Yaya. Hello, everyone.
Yes, hello.
Hello, everyone. This is Ayomiko. Yeah, so Yaya, please, can you mute your mic? Okay, so sorry, this webinar there is an interpretation for this webinar. So once she's speaking in French, so you can easily click English. The interpreter is interpreting it in English. So she's speaking French now. So just click in. So on your screen you will see an interface so you can click language interpretation. So you just go for English. So you hear the interpretation in English. Zena, please, you can continue in French.
Ok. D'accord. Donc, je dis que les gens n'ont pas peur de se prononcer quant aux élections. Et les femmes ont une part de responsabilité sur tout ce qui est en train de se passer. Elles ne sont pas seulement observatrices. Elles ne sont pas seulement des observatrices. Donc, elles sont en train de jouer un rôle important pour la promotion de la démocratie et surtout le respect du genre. Et surtout
Okay, thank you, Zainab. That's like the follow-up question. That's like the next question I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about women participation in elections in Niger. Do you think that they are having a lot of challenges for women to, women participation? Are women able to participate? Are women voters? Are women voted for? Are women generally running for office, or are they allowed to vote?
Ok. Donc là, vous parlez de la participation citoyenne de la femme au Niger, si j'ai bien compris. Et c'est ça, je vous dis. Au Niger, vraiment, l'éveil de conscience en ce qui concerne l'implication et la participation citoyenne de la femme, c'est un sujet en vogue. Il y a beaucoup de structures féminines qui se battent pour ce défi. Et nous constatons effectivement qu'il y a un engouement quant à ce sujet. Donc, les femmes ont pris conscience. Par exemple, quand vous prenez au niveau des partis politiques, il y a beaucoup de femmes qui se sont enregistrées pour les élections législatives cette année. C'est vrai qu'il n'y a qu'une seule potentielle candidate au présidentiel, puisque jusque-là, la liste définitive n'est pas sortie. On ne peut pas se prononcer là-dessus. Les femmes, mais on ne peut pas dire que les femmes n'ont pas leur mot à dire. Les femmes, elles sont là, elles exercent, que ce soit dans le monde politique que dans le monde entrepreneurial ou bien civil, elles sont là, elles exercent leurs droits civiques et politiques. Et elles sont vraiment dévouées et les sensibilisations continuent en ce sens. Et donc là encore, au Niger, ce qui est à applaudir, c'est que les hommes accompagnent les femmes dans leurs objectifs, quoi, et dans l'atteinte de leurs objectifs, si je peux le dire. Donc, vraiment, ce domaine-là, beaucoup a été fait, mais beaucoup reste à faire. Je ne dirais pas que le Niger a atteint le summum de la participation citoyenne des femmes, mais quand même, le Niger a progressé. Et dernièrement, il y a eu même la loi de quota, elle a été rehaussée, bien que nous, on ne veut plus parler de quota, on fait la promotion du mérite, la femme, elle est à tel poste parce qu'elle le mérite et non parce que la loi le prévoit. Mais pour ce qui est de l'émancipation et de la prise de conscience, sachez que les Nigériens sont en train de progresser. Hello?
Okay, thank you very much. I hope we're able to, switch interpretation to get what Zainab was talking about. She mentioned that women are participating and that that even the men are trying to encourage the women, and there are laws already in place encouraging women to participate. So thank you very much for that, your contribution on that. But I just want to check on Esan from Cote d'Ivoire if he's back online.
Yes,
Hello,
I'm
Esan.
back online.
Okay.
Hello.
So
sorry for the low connection.
Yeah, we all know that's the situation. That's what it is. So
yeah,
from where you left off.
Yes, I was talking about third terms and all the consequences related to it in West Africa with regard to the weakening of our democratic systems. So I was saying that West Africa has made little progress with regard to freedom of speech and freedom of expression, and especially during electoral periods, freedom of movements and assembly is also under threat. Even countries that were more or less cited as an example of stability and freedom are subject to a lot of threat and violence. And my sister from Ghana talked about vigilante groups in Ghana, and the situation is even worse in Cote d'Ivoire and in Guinea, where it's even impossible. It's not possible for the people to demonstrate, to express an opposed view, a contrary view to the view of the political power, because they fear if the government does not attack them, even militants, political militants will attack them. And, democracy is under threat in Cote d'Ivoire. And especially during this electoral process, as you know, there have been arrests, attack and threat against journalists and against civil society actors and activists who have been fired from their jobs just because they took part in political assemblies for the oppositions, or even they wanted to stage demonstrations. There have been also activists who have been arrested and jailed because they were engaged and they were talking about the constitutionality or unconstitutionality of some decisions by the government. So in general, there have been some civil society activities, some civil society engagement in trying to call for the respect of the democracy. And I would like to share a little example about an initiative that I undertook with a few Ivorian leaders, which is what you can see. I'm sharing my screen. This book that we wrote together with tens of Ivorian youth entitled Côte d'Ivoire pour que demain soit meilleur, des voix pour la paix. I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is an initiative, and we really wanted to echo the voice of Ivorian youth to speak about their mind, to speak to other young leaders across the country and to the political leaders that what we saw in the past, we don't want to leave this now, especially during this electoral process. There have been other initiatives by civil society organizations and activists, but all of these have little impact, and we are sure that this will not go and change anything substantial. But these are demonstrations that we are aware of the situations and we are engaged and committed to change this. I want to stop here for now, and if you have follow-up questions.
Okay. Thank you very much for what you said so far. But do you think that these threats and the arrests and all of that, the threats to journalists and the citizens, do you think that the spirit of the citizens are dampened? Do you think it will affect the elections? Do you think they wouldn't want to come out to vote during the elections? So what do you think about the whole attack?
Absolutely, absolutely. The elections are scheduled for next Saturday on October 31st, and it's really the likelihood of having peaceful elections is very, very low, because opposition leaders call for, boycott, and the militants are in the street blocking roads, destroying assets, and even impeaching, preventing other militants from withdrawing their voter cards and IDs. So there will be attempts to prevent people from voting, and this is sure, this has already started. And on the other side, vigilante groups of both the oppositions and the party in power will also try to threaten people who are seen as the adversaries from voting. So these elections is not going to be peaceful at all.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, and yeah, we hope that people are encouraged to vote, because we need to uphold our democracy and exercise our rights as citizens.
Yeah, we hope so,
back
but
online. Yeah, please. Sorry, you were saying something.
Yeah, I just said that we hope so, but it's really unlikely that there will be peaceful elections.
Okay, thank you very much. David Osabute. Hello, David.
I think we lost him there.
Oh, okay.
So we have to go for Arume now.
Yeah.
Hello, Arume.
Yeah, hi, Ayo. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon, Arume. Thank you for joining.
Thank you very much, Ayo.
Yeah, so Arume, you're from Nigeria, and election is not holding in Nigeria this year. Of course, we held some state election, but with your experience working, or you experience as a policy analyst, your experience working with the African Union, groups, civil society groups at the African level, and working with CSOs. Can you hear me, Arume?
Yeah, I can hear you. I'm with you.
Okay, great. So working with CSOs, working as a policy analyst, what policies do you think that, when you look at it, what policies could be made at the regional and sub-regional level? When I say regional level, I'm talking about the African Union, talking about the sub-regional level, I'm talking about the ECOWAS. What policies can be made that CSOs and citizens could use, to engage their government and hold them accountable for credible, fair, and free elections?
Yeah, thank you very much, Ayo. And it's very interesting to be part of these conversations around elections in some of the the West African countries, and it's also very interesting to also connect back to some old friends, Jambi especially, though we have forgotten each other for some time, but hope this will become a very good time again to reconnect. Having said this, I want to start by saying that the hallmark of democracy, the fulcrum, the strength of democracy, is elections. There can never be any democracy without elections. And if we go by Abraham Lincoln's definitions of democracy, he said it is a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. So if there should be a government, the people need to make that particular government. So
hello. Hello, David here.
David, can you hold on, please?
Okay, sure. All right, sorry. My network. Okay.
So
can you continue, please, Arome?
Yeah, so if the people are square out of the electoral process, democracy cannot be upheld. So if we must uphold the ideals of democracy, then it is very important for us to invest so much in our electoral process. Hello.
We are with you, Arome.
Yeah, it's very important for us to invest in the in our elections within the African or the West African sub-region. And having said that, I want us to also take note of this, that there is something that is a trend within the African continent that most African leaders are learning from each other. And when you see what's happening in Ghana, you could see that it's a rub-off of what is happening in Nigeria. You could also see that what is happening in Cote d'Ivoire is also lessons that the country is also learning from countries like Cameroon, countries like Niger, and other countries that are around. So African leaders are in a very fast process of learning from each other when it comes to issues around shrinking civic space and also clamping down on civil society organizations in order to restrict the civic space. Now, within the African continent generally, we need not to talk about making any other law or putting any other policy framework in place to talk about elections or defending the civic space. Why do I say that? Because there are a lot of policies that we have within the African continent and within the West African sub-region that is capable of taking care of protecting our elections, of defending our democracy within this sub-region, within the West African sub-region. And I'll say this, now the African Union Heads of State meetings in 2012 had a meeting at the extraordinary sections of the African Union, and they came up with a framework, the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance, which is a set of principles, which reel out a set of principles that talked about democratic practice, democratic ideals that African continent should be abided with. These democratic ideals are African shared values. Values as the respect for human rights, values as the freedom of speech, freedom of expression, freedom of associations of individuals, of African citizens. These values are enshrined in the African Charter on Democracy, Elections and Governance. We also have the African Court on People's on People and Human Rights, which is housed in Gambia. Now, all of these special courts, special institutions of the African Union has policies document that has been reeled out, guiding the practice of democracy, guiding the practice of elections within the African continent. Now, to what extent have some of the African countries that are signatory to these democratic frameworks, to what extent have they implemented this particular democratic framework? To what extent have they operationalized it in their own countries? That is the question that we should be asking. Now, when we come down to the West African region, the West African region has a very robust document, a pro-democracy document, which has been put out to support democratic practice within this West African sub-region, the West African, the ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance. And when we have conversation with some colleagues at the AU or some colleagues from East Africa or some other colleague from the South African region, we used to say this, that the AU is a toothless bulldog, that the AU framework is not as strong as the West African framework, the West African Protocol on Elections and Good Governance. Now, and I will give you a very good example why I said that the West African Protocol on Good Governance is a very strong instrument. Now, in 2019, when Nigeria was about embarking on elections, there were so many calls on electoral reform, so many called on the president postponing elections or amending the Electoral Act. Now, the president of Nigeria, President Muhammadu Buhari, invoked one of the principles, one of the articles of the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance, which states that 6 months to any elections, no state party should amend or alter their electoral law. Now, automatically, when these cases was being picked up by different constitutional law and different activists and everyone, Nigeria is already a signatory to the ECOWAS Protocol on Democracy and Good Governance. Nigeria had ratified. Nigeria had already domesticated this particular framework at the national level. So it's already a binding, legal framework that dictates what principles we should abide by when it comes to electoral democracy within our nation as a country. So if we are going by the issues of policies within Africa or within this West African sub-region that speaks to issues around elections, speaks to issues around respect for human rights, speaks to issues around democracy, we already have this issue. So what we should be doing as citizens, as civil society organizations, as individuals and as media people is to organize around this particular framework to see how do we ensure that this framework is being domesticated? How do we ensure that this framework is being implemented at the national level? How do we ensure that nations, state parties are adhering to the principles that are enshrined in this democratic principle, in these democratic frameworks across the African continent? So we have a lot of policies.
Thank you, Aruma. Let me quickly cut you there. Sorry, let me quickly cut you there. You mentioned that the ECOWAS framework is kind of stronger than what we have at the AU level. So now, if I may ask, when you look at the case of Cote d'Ivoire, Cote d'Ivoire is preparing for presidential election. The election is holding this weekend. Now the president is going for third term. President Alassane Ouattara is going for third term, and one of the controversies is that he has break the constitution, the laws in the country's constitution. What do you think civil society groups in that country should do to hold President Alassane Ouattara accountable? What do you think they should have done? Because election is coming up this weekend. What do you think they should have done? And what do you think they should do going forward, when such situation arises? How do you think civil society group in this country can kind of invoke, in quotes, the clauses of that of those protocols? Thank you.
Now, Ayo, thank you very much for that question. And I'm so sorry if this might be offensive to some people, but one thing that I want to point out here is that civil society across some of the countries within West Africa or the African continent generally, some countries, not in all countries in cases, are toothless bulldog. And I'm so sorry to use that word. And I will clarify why I use that word. We are not proactive. We are not sensitive to trends within our nations. Now, I said this because one, civil society organizations organize when there is already the activities of the nation state against civil society. Now, if we should organize, our organizing shouldn't be at the point that there is a problem. Our organizing should be right from the beginning of every democratic process. Now, civil society organizations should not start engagement at the point that there is an election. There are processes that lead to the that leads to an election. The election is an activity entirely. It's a cycle. There are a lot of activities that crystallize into the E-Day, the election day activity that we all see. We have the registrations of voter. We have the registrations of voter. We have the party primaries. We have we have the party registrations itself, and all of this, the campaign process, the finances that goes into campaigning. So you often see that oftentimes you see civil society organizations not engaging with this process. We wait until when there is an elections for us to engage with. Now, we also see, it will shock you to see that in the West African sub-region, I could say that 50% or 60% of civil society organizations within the West African sub-region that are working around elections and democracy have no knowledge of the ECOWAS protocol on democracy and good governance. So how do you want to hold somebody accountable to a principle that you don't even know anything about it? That is one. So there is that capacity gap within civil society organizations, or some of this international framework, some of this regional and continental framework, which some of our countries have, are signatory to, and have domesticated that. So civil society organizations need to start engaging right from the beginning of the process. Now, number two, we also need to reinvent our organizing. Our organizing is rather too reactive than being too proactive. So our organizing should be proactive. We should start early enough. See, these politicians, these political leaders, they start their engagement at the very time that there is no conversations around elections. So what are civil society organizations doing to start engagement immediately after every elections in every countries within the African region or the West African sub-region? No, that's two. Then number three, there is a lot of competitions among civil societies organizations that are working around elections, good governance, human rights issues across Africa, across West African region. There is that push for, yes, I want to present myself as the most viable civil society organization that should be funded, that should draw funding from DFID, from EU, from CEDA, or from any of the international agencies that are supporting elections and good governance. So we need to drop competitions and come together to reorganize ourselves. Collaboration. You know, they used to say this, that a tree cannot make a forest. So if we must make a drastic effort in changing the narrative within the West African region or the African continent entirely around elections and good governance, then it is very important for civil society organizations to reorganize themselves, drop competitions, and then focus on doing the business rather being petty or getting around.
Thank you so much, Arome. That was a great one for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
may I say something about this question as it relates to Côte d'Ivoire?
Okay, in 1 minute, please.
Yes, please, just to thank my mate for what he has just said. Yeah, a lot of it is true. But also, I would like to add that even though we have these great protocols and frameworks in place, these do not have a legally binding, effect, so that countries and leaders are free to violate these frameworks. And this is exactly what is happening in Côte d'Ivoire. When he says that the civil society did not take actions, there were a lot of prosecutions in Arusha in front of African courts. And the African court, made some decisions which have never been implemented until the sitting president in Côte d'Ivoire decided to withdraw from the African court just because the court is disturbing his plan to run for a third term. And in West Africa, even though we have this great protocol, what are our leaders doing, our president doing to put pressure on their peer in order to respect this? This is happening in Guinea, is happening in Côte d'Ivoire, and a lot of civil society actors have been arrested and jailed. There have been laws to ban manifestation and demonstration in the street. So what can we do?
Okay. Thank you very much. So Arome, you don't need to respond. So we still have a lot of time. We have time at the breakout room, so we have time to discuss some of those things using specificities, of the issues that are happening in the countries. So so let me just quickly call David. David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I hope you can hear me.
Yes,
I'm sure you can hear me.
I can hear you,
Good.
David. Thank you. So, so because of our time, so you just have 3 minutes. So, so we could conclude the panel session. So, if you look at in Ghana at the moment, we've read in the news that media groups have been arrested, maybe during campaigns. You know, media groups have been arrested for making some publications against against some politicians in power as they prepare towards this election. So, you know, it's cause for concern. So what do you think is happening? You know, this is against the right of media activists, you know, being arrested for releasing some information, you know, that seems to be against the personality or a particular group who is in power. So what do you think, so what is happening? What should, so what are media groups doing to avoid such situation? What are the citizens saying in Ghana? And okay, so just to answer that, so that will take me to the next question.
All right, thank you, and then a very good afternoon to my other colleagues from other countries across the West Africa sub-region. I think that when it comes to issues of attack on the media in Ghana, this is an issue the government of the day has said that they have no hand in it, and the opposition says that, see, when we were in power, the media was able to express itself freely without any form of attack or any form of vandalism on the media. So how come that in the case of this present government, we see a lot of attack on the media that actually spoke in favor of this government when they were in opposition? So how then do you now attack the same media that spoke for you when you were in opposition? So, and this is an allegation that the government has denied. A journalist, an investigative journalism, Ahmed Swali was murdered here in Accra, Ghana, and till today we have not been able to find the perpetrators of that act. Some other attack have been orchestrated on some journalists and then at some other media houses. Till today, we have not been able to establish who are the perpetrators of those acts. The police say they are investigating some of these acts and then to also bring the perpetrators of the act to book. But we have not been able to ascertain. So today,
that's okay.
Yes. So today, so that's a number of citizens feel that there is an attack on the media. There is an attack on freedom of speech and freedom of assembly.
So let me cut you there, David. David. So if you look at it, as a result of this attack on the media, I want to believe that young people and CSOs in Ghana will not try to leverage the social media, you know, to express their views. So do you think there are any laws in Ghana that is, you know, also preventing people from expressing their views or expressing themselves on social media? Have there been any cases where people were arrested for making social media posts against the government?
I think that in Ghana, the dynamics are quite different. Young people and the civil society organizations are able to express their views very openly on social media. There have been instances where the police have invited a few people. Basically, they say it's just further probe into something they have said on social media, and then the police wanted them to throw more light on that. But there have been no instances that said people have been detained by the police or they've been taken. So generally in Ghana, the government of the day still respects the freedom of speech of the masses of the people, and then that of civil society organizations. So for Ghana, yeah, it's okay as compared to some other countries within the West African sub-region or within the African continent.
Thank you so much, David. Thank you very much for your time. We appreciate our panelists. Thank you, Arume. Thank you, David. Thank you, Esson. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, Zainabu. Thank you. We appreciate everyone. Jaya Dama from Burkina Faso, thank you so much. We appreciate your contribution. The next item on our agenda is the breakout room. So we're going to have 4 breakout rooms, and we're going to be focusing on the countries holding elections for the holding elections in 2020. I mean, the remaining part of the year. So I'm talking about Ghana, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, and Niger. So the breakout rooms will be coordinated by our panelists. So Esson will coordinate, Esson from Cote d'Ivoire will coordinate the breakout room for Cote d'Ivoire. Yaya Dama will coordinate the breakout room for Burkina Faso. We have Zenabu and Mokhtar. Zenabu and Mokhtar will coordinate the breakout room for Niger. While Cecilia and David will coordinate the breakout room for Ghana. So I understand that Burkina Faso's official language is French. That of Cote d'Ivoire is also French, and that of Niger is French. But for Ghana is English. So the idea is this: in the breakout rooms there will be no interpretation. But at the end of the breakout room, at the end of the breakout session, there will be a summary of what was discussed in the breakout room. And now the question is this: what are we going to be discussing in the breakout room? In the breakout room, we'll be discussing the challenges and the threats to credible elections, especially issues relating to laws undermining credible elections, freedom of expression, attack on media activists, and civil society groups. So we're going to be discussing that in the breakout room. And I'll be sharing a document, a Google document with the coordinators of each of the breakout room so that they can populate the discussions that will be made in their room. So I will share the document with them so they can populate the discussion. So the speakers can as well give the document to one of the participants to populate, so that, but the idea is that in the breakout room, the speakers will coordinate the rooms while other participants in the room will also give their contribution. Thank you. So I'll be assigning us to the breakout rooms. That was why I said earlier that we should put our country at the in front of our names so that we can easily assign us to the breakout rooms. But not that there will be no interpretation in the breakout room. So for those of us who are not from Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, or Niger, and you want to join any of the rooms, so you should understand that there will be no interpretation. So I may advise that you should join a room where you understand the language. By the end of each of the session, at the end of the session, there will be summary of what was discussed, and that will be interpreted. Thank you. Please let's add the name of our country to the back of our name, after our name. Okay, so something just came to I just got an information that since we are going to go into the breakout rooms, it is very advisable that that one of the rooms should not be in room, one of the rooms should be in the general session, since we are going live on Facebook, so that the discussion can also be live while other rooms can be having their discussion. Okay, so are we together? So I will leave Ghana in the general room while other countries go to the breakout room, so that discussion of Ghana can be live on Facebook. Please, let's quickly add our country to the
Okay.
Or if there's any room you want to join, please, you can drop the country in the chat box so that I can see it. If there's a room for those of us whose countries, yes. So the
I was
country you
going
want
to
to
say that
join,
maybe people can indicate on the.
yes, if the country you want to join.
And then they tell you which country they.
Okay, so I've added members to the rooms. So if you are yet to be added to
So you indicated you're going to leave Ghana in the general room, right? I want to be clarified on this.
David.
Yes.
Hello, David.
Yes, I'm here. David is here.
Stay here. You don't need to leave.
Okay, I don't need to move. Okay,
yes.
Okay, great. Okay, all right. Thank you for the clarification. All right, thank you. Okay, thank you.
La faction pour format de... On devait travailler dessus aujourd'hui.
Unless tomorrow. Oh.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
We can hear you, David.
Yeah, is the discussion starting?
Yes. So, David, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. David is here. Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So let's start. The whole thing when it comes to shrinking of the civil space in Ghana, we know that we cannot totally say that the government backs violence against journalists, because there have only been few, and they have actually denied it. And if some of them have come out to speak against them. So we cannot talk about that. But what is very, very worrying right now is the political vigilantism that is growing between the major political parties. So if we are talking about the shrinking space of the civics, NCC is doing nothing. We are talking about a place where as it's like the power, vigilantes are getting the growing power each year because political parties keep endorsing them. And political think tanks are seen as jokes. Imagine how Imani couldn't even organize a presidential debate because nobody wants to take that. So I think we should in electoral fraud. And you know that something came out recently, I think yesterday or so, but people were talking about political analyst, one Amachi from KNUST, political science, was talking about how had a beef with Jean Mensa about the supposed over 30,000 people whose names have been missing from the voters register.
No, hasn't been missing, or because EC said they have deleted them for multiple registration offenses.
Yes. And then he was claiming, he claimed that they should publish the names of those people so that people will know. And it is a bizarre thing. Right now, news coming in says that some vigilante group who call themselves MPP supporters stormed an ECG office to vandalize the place because at a Baumia rally or something, there was light out. Have you heard that news?
I haven't heard that news.
The light went out, so they just stormed the ECG office and vandalized the place. It's today. It just came in.
Wow.
Yes.
I haven't been
and locked the place up or something like that. Oh, it just came in. So I think we should discuss around these things since we are many here.
Okay. Is anyone
and we are supposed
taking the
to
minute
be
for us? Is anyone taking the minute?
So
Is anyone noting down the point for us?
I'm not sure. Isn't this to be recorded?
Yeah, but we need to take the point. It's being recorded.
So do we need to write it if it's being recorded?
So you mean that we can take notes?
Oh yeah,
yes,
those
take
two
notes.
ones can take notes, yes. But
take
not
because
as in
we
minutes,
need to get,
right?
No. We can take notes because we need someone to do a 5-minute presentation of the point that have been discussed. Yeah. So let's take notes.
And it should be a participant, any volunteer.
Yes. Anyone can volunteer to do that for us, please.
Any volunteer, please.
Hi, I'll do that. My name is Bernice.
Thank you, Bernice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that Amofoa speaking?
Please, in person.
Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that let's look at the general political scene in terms of a current happenings leading to election 2020. I'm sure
okay.
let's look at the issues in its entirety, and then we'll be able to map up a strategy for as part of our issue resolution proposal.
Okay.
Yes. So anyone want to start?
Yeah, this is a
Yeah,
facilitation. So David and I will just coordinate to make sure there's order. Everybody can speak or talk or contribute so that we will arrive at a good or a rich decision when it comes to the election and all the civic problems.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first?
Hello. Okay, let me say something.
Okay.
What's your name, please?
I'm Amotoke.
Okay.
Hey, Amotoke.
Mom, see.
Yes,
okay.
darling.
Yeah, so I think from everything we have said so far today, I think we all kind of share the same problem, which is rooted in leadership and the fact that our leaders, when I say our leaders, I mean the politicians, once they have power, they don't want to release the power again, and they want the power to continue to rotate around them. Just like when you mentioned that there are just two major parties in Ghana, while there are other parties, but they are not, they are not on that same level with other two major parties. Also in Nigeria, we have just two major parties that are always, trying to rotate power between themselves, the PDP and the APC. But I think going forward, one thing we can do is for the youth to arise. So when
so do you support what is happening currently in Nigeria in terms of the end
exactly
SARS
what I
protest?
want to say.
You support that?
Nigeria as a case study.
Okay.
I'm sure if we have not done our election just last year, this would have changed a whole lot of things.
True.
You understand? But because we have done our election last year, we still have to suffer, use the word suffer 3 years under our president. But now the youth have spoken and they are no longer to be silent. So I think if civil society are not going to be doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, based on maybe the fact that sometimes politics has also buy in on them, or maybe sometimes even politicians are now setting up their own civil society to even overpower the real civil society. I think when
yes, true.
When they start standing up and talking, people are going to take them serious. This protest in Nigeria started just like a joke. It was a musician that first said it's Naira Marley that is going to do a protest walk. And people are like, oh, if you do the protest work, they will join. Then later on, he backed down, saying he's not doing the work again. But other people picked it up. And trust me, a one-day movement turned out to be a 2 weeks protest on the street. Major roads were blocked, everywhere were blocked. People sat under the rain, they threw water cannon at them. Policemen arrested a lot of people. It's just that, like I said, the government have already made everything very bad. When the government saw that the youth were already making headway, people were buying into the hashtags, people from all over the country were contributing to this stuff. They sent out their own thugs to become the hoodlums and the thugs who later destabilized the whole peaceful protest into something else, and we have to fall under a curfew. But the truth of the matter is that the youth have spoken up, and even currently now a council is being set up in which youth are now part of that council, and whatever they have to say, the youth have to be carried along every major time. So I think if civil society has failed us, our leaders have failed us, we the youth should not fail ourselves. We need a global movement.
Okay.
All around West Africa, not even West Africa.
And Omotoke, I'm not cutting you, but then I'll have to ask you about what happened also in Lekki, where there are claims that the military just chanced upon some of the protesters and just killed them.
Okay. Yeah. So apparently,
In cold
this is
blood.
what happened.
How true is that?
So, okay, apparently, this is what happened when the protests were ongoing, and hoodlums and thugs were already hijacking the protest in some places by also trying to start throwing stones at police officers when they are passing, even though they are not the real protester. Then the governor of Lagos State declared a curfew, and the curfew was declared around 12 o'clock. And he said the curfew will start by 4 p.m. So people spoke up. When people spoke up, he changed it to 9 p.m. So that means the curfew will start by 9 p.m. So that people that
9
have
p.m.
already gone out can go back to their house. But it's so unfortunate. So people at the Lekki toll gate, Lekki toll gate is one of the major stage for the protester. Why? Because that is where a major toll gate where money is being received by the government is. At least a day, it turns over millions of naira in that Lekki toll gate. So they were there, so they refused to go home. But unfortunately, it was just part 7. Why the military men have already staged their camp there. They were armed with guns and everything. By 7:30 to 8, they started shooting. It wasn't so. Before that time, they went in, took the camera because there's a CCTV that covers the place. They took down the camera, saying they were taking it down for maintenance. Why at that time? Then there's a billboard, a
So
very
they
big
knew what they
billboard
wanted to do.
that gives light, that supplies light on the street. They turned the billboard off also. And then the military started shooting. And you tell me people were shooting. So one of the musicians called the Switch. She went on Instagram Live to show people what was going on, why the whole shooting was going on. And it's so unfortunate that the government could say that it's a fake news. It's so unfortunate the government will say that nobody died at first, and later they came out to say just one person died. Eyes witness told us over 10 people died during that Lekki massacre. So you can see that the government does not even care about its own citizens. And you know the funny thing, the government is saying that they didn't give the order for military men to go to the place. The military also how will I put it? The commandant of the military regime also said he doesn't know the army that went there. So are you telling me it were random civilian people that dressed up in
It
soldier
can't
clothing
be
to
a
go and
random
shoot?
nothing. They can't because
Exactly.
military men, they work with orders. They will never go shooting if you did not order them.
So my own point is the youth should continue to speak and we should not keep quiet. I think that is
That's
one of the
fine.
major
That's
solutions
fine.
Yeah,
we can
that's
back
So
on now.
you think that as part of the way forward for dealing with electoral threats, young people should be involved in policy making and interpretation at all levels of decision making, and then young people should be given a voice, right? Is that it, Omo? Omo, is that the summary of your point? Okay. In Ghana, in 2009, a bill was presented to Parliament, which Parliament passed into an act. It's called the Anti-Vigilante and Related Offences Act 2009, Act 999. Basically banning all forms of vigilante groups, and anyone who is found to have been engaged in any of these gets up to 15 years imprisonment. We are approaching election 2020.
Hello?
And then some of the yes. Can you hear me? Okay. So
David,
some of the
David, you went off a bit. So can you go back
I went
a
off a
little?
bit. Okay, you want me to go back? Okay. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I'm saying that in 2009, in 2009, a bill was presented to Parliament, and then it has since been passed into an act, and it's the Anti-Vigilante and Related Offences Act 2009, Act 999. And what this act seeks to do is to ban all forms of vigilante groups across the country. Yes, vigilante groups across the country. Let me give you a few names of these vigilante groups in Ghana.
Okay.
So we have the Azoka Boys. We have Azoka Boys. We have We have Burma camp, we have Eastern members, we have
And
Lions,
the
we have
Azoka boys, they are
Alunta group.
related to NDC.
Yeah,
David,
yes,
David,
yes,
when you mentioned
yes.
mention the affiliation. So
The
Azoka
affiliation,
boys,
okay.
NDC.
Yes,
Yes.
the Hawks.
We
The
are not
Hawks
playing.
is an NDC related group. Invisible Forces is an
Related, yes.
NPP related group. Delta Force is an NPP related group. Azoka Boys is NDC. Borga Bulldogs is NDC. So these are a few of the vigilante groups across the country. As at the last count, we have about 27 of these vigilante groups across the country. So then the president presented to Parliament of the Republic of Ghana a bill to disband all this. But then after this has been passed into an act, just on Sunday, a group of young men from both the NPP and the NDC side, and then the NDC is the biggest opposition party, and then the NPP is the current party in government. The NDC is the NPP is the incumbent, and then the NDC is the biggest opposition party.
NDC is the opposition, and
NDC is the opposition. Sorry. Now let me give you a little bit of background. The NDC has a flag bearer, and his name is John Dramani Mahama. John Dramani Mahama happens to be the former president of the Republic of Ghana. He lost the 2016 elections to His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, John Mahama says that even though now the Constitution of Ghana gives every president one term of office, which is 4 years. However, you could run for office for another term of 4 years. Now,
hello, David. David. What's happening today? Hello?
Hello?
David, you went off again. Hello, David. Hello, David.
I think we should ask if anybody have any other thing to say.
Yes, can I make a comment? Can I make a contribution?
Yes, please.
Oh, sure.
Yes. Yeah, my name is Kwesi Sapon, and I happen to be the executive director of Otili Foundation. It's a youth-led organization based in Ghana. And I would like to share some few things looking at the subject area we're looking at it.
Please.
I'm interested in the solutions and the way forward.
Okay.
So I'm going to focus on that more based on what we do in the project we're implementing called Civic Care Project in Ghana, which started under the UNESCO Youth Civic Engagement in West Africa. There are some entry points. The first is that when you talk about vigilantes, political vigilantes, you need to look at the source. So David talked about the law, but the law itself cannot cure it.
Akwesi, and let me say this, Akwesi, let me say this. The law ratified in 2019 by Akufo-Addo, it's nothing because NDC refused to sign the final roadmap and vigilante code of conduct arising from the negotiations way back in February 2020. Yeah. So it is actually not enforced.
That is why I'm saying that it's not a law. Usually, before even coming into being of that law, we have existing regulations that we could have used to control that system. It was illegal. All the activities that were involved in were illegal. Electoral malpractices, harmful criminal activities were there. So the point I want to make is that, first, young people in colleges and universities, they're already involved in elections. They are used by political parties and the rest as perpetrators and victims. And I can give you examples. I was in college the same year with some of the young people who are in the helm of affairs in political parties in Ghana, like Sami Oku and Okujeto. I was in the same hall with them when I was in the university. And I can tell you the kind of politics they were involved in and the alignment they done. So if you want to solve these things, we need to first create what we call the civil skill. We need to equip them what we call civil skill. The civil skill will let you know that if you are asked to commit a crime, you are asked to go and see.
Akwesi, we are
civil
writing,
skill.
so take
You
your
need to
time.
equip
You said civil what? Civil skill or civil skills? Civic skills, okay.
Civic. Yes, civic skill training. You need to equip them with civic skill training. Now, this is where you make them understand that in a community they come to be aware of the things in their community and how they will not allow themselves to be used for anything, but how they can actively participate by using their talent and skill. So when it comes to election cycle, they will know that if I'm not 18 years old, nobody can convince me to go and register at 18 because, it's wrong as a young person. And that is, right from the elementary school to junior high school to senior high school to university. You cannot go
I'm
and
back.
convince that young person.
My connection got truncated at a point in time. Sorry.
So you need to equip them with that. So you equip the young people with that civil skill.
Akwesi is on the line, so let's allow him to finish.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Akwesi, continue.
So you need to equip them with the civil skill. And that is young people. You also need to equip organizations like youth organizations, CSOs with that skill. They lack it. You see, engaging people in that process is a specific thing. You don't just go into it. So you need to also do that. And this cannot only be implemented by the National Commission on Civic Education.
Those who have noisy backgrounds, can you please put off your, what do we call it? Can you please mute your speakers so that we can have a clearer sound? Thank you. Let's go, Akwesi.
So you need to equip young people. For example, in Ghana, a young policy, what is it, 15 to 35. In Nigeria, a young person is also defined 18 to 35 because they rectify that. So you need to equip the young people at the basic level. You need to introduce civic skill at the basic level. In the university, it should be a mandatory thing. They understand their communities, they know how they can, because the young people want to participate in the process, but very often they lack it. The next point is that you need to create what we call it civic, youth-friendly spaces in communities. So that, for example, young people can come together in a community and say, in our community, we believe that more women before election are victims or are raped. So we come together, then we form our own group that will be able to support them or prevent that. You see, I'm saying this because on our project we have implemented for more than 1 year, we've been able to make successes in these areas in communities we operated. The young people on our platform.
Which communities, please? Which communities?
Communities around Ghana, I can tell you, it's nationwide. We've done this nationwide.
Can you name a few?
No, I can give you a lot of it. Okay, if you go to Opekuma, you go to communities in Accra and outside Accra, a number of them. We ran all over. This was supported by UNESCO, but it was a youth. We developed our own activity and they supported it. You can go to the UNESCO Abuja website and you put Civic Care Project. You see one of our reports there, detailed 90-page report. You find pictures and everything within in that area, including young people with disability, giving every young person opportunity. The next point is that African countries are ratified when it comes to election.
And Akwesi, I have to also say that to back your point, the NCC, that's the National Commission for Civic Education, is a white elephant. In Ghana, it doesn't work at all.
Please,
so what you're saying is
no, it's true, but I will not describe them as a white elephant. What we need is that we need to build partnership with them. Okay, we need to build partnership. I will not run them down because the point is that if they don't have the tool, for example, UNESCO has developed a tool of how to engage young people in this area. Okay, sometimes we need to collaborate with them. You see, one of the best ways that we need to build what we call youth-adult partnership. Most of the victims and the perpetrators of election threats, when it comes to election threats and all those, is young people.
Yes.
All right. The vigilante is not older. It's not useless people who don't have anything. It's people who are skill. They're educated. Some of the people who are involved are educated people like I and you. But they have been made to understand that that's the best way you can be able to make a living, or you can be able to get an appointment when my party win power. So that is the next point. Creating youth-friendly or friendly spaces in communities where people can come together and contribute so that they will not be allowed to go and commit those crimes. What I also say that you need to tap into certain existing things. For example, leveraging on social media. We have found out in our research that in Ghana, on the average, a young person spends 3 hours, 30 minutes browsing his or mobile phone online. What percentage of this is used contribute something positively to the community. So you need to let them understand it so that when they go, they will do all the entertainment part. They'll be able to make a time also to say they will expose a lie, or they'll be able to say this is wrong. Now, you talk about journalists and all those things, very important. But we also know that some of these journalists have become an entry point where misinformation and fake news is shared, because you want to be the first reporter to put those information there. So there's a lot of fake news, which even if you relate to COVID-19, a lot of it has been spread by people, even we trusted them. They put the wrong information because people are making a living out of these things. So they say this place is bombed. You go, it's not bombed. The next time you say this place is bombed. So some of the things I will add, then I probably will leave it for other people to look at it, is that one, we must create this civil skill. It should become a mandatory thing for young people, for organization, youth organization. Ghana has not been able to put in place what we call it the National Action Plan on Youth, Peace and Security, which is in line with the UN Resolution 2250. By now, we should have had that, because in that, I will end with that. There are 5 pillars of it, which could help every community or country. It talks about participation. In Ghana, if you go to the district level, we have the
you
district
have 1
security
minute
council.
to go.
If you go to
1
the
minute,
district level,
please.
we have the district security council. There's no young person on it. This council do not have a young representative. Okay, the regional council do not have it. So how do you tap into their knowledge when they are the people they are using for it? Participation is key. Protection is key. Prevention is key. At the same time, partnership. So we don't have to wait for election. Election cycles start. At this point, everybody is talking about elections. After election, we all go to sleep. We need to start the process as the political parties think. After every election, they start a new election. The moment EC announces the election, they start another election. The same way we must also act. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Just to a little bit, just step in and leave it the conversation.
Can you please introduce yourself?
Okay,
please?
my name is Arome. I'm a Nigerian, and I'm a West African, and I'm an African. Okay.
Yes, you are.
Very, very interesting conversations and very interesting contributions. And you know, my brother that just dropped off said something that they should create a youth-friendly center. Let me just disappoint you that in Africa, African leaders will not create youth center for you, because they know you will use it against them.
No, but wait, we create the youth center. I'm not saying you allow the leader. For example, you, the young people, we have created it. You don't expect somebody to create for you.
Okay.
That's what it means.
Okay, good.
They will not create it. You see?
Yes,
I'm saying that we created it, not the government. Don't expect the government to create anything for you.
Good.
So if you have the skill, you'll be able to create
But
it.
even if you
the
create
skill,
it, they will find a way to, vandalize the place and destroy it, because they know that it will become a threat to them.
Wait, we have the physical and electronic. That's why I talk about it. You create a physical space, you have electronic. There's no way. See, I'm saying this because we have implemented things. You cannot take any of the young people on my project and do that. You see, let me do that. You give the space. The young people know that physically they can meet. Virtually they can meet online.
Okay.
So if
that's okay. I think we should allow other people to. Yeah, that's okay. Thank you very much. Now, any other person we have to round up soon. So any other person who wants to contribute?
Contribution, please. I'd like to make a contribution.
Any other person? Arame. Oh, okay. Yes, who is it?
Bernice, please.
Bernice, please. Yes, you're on the floor.
While talking, there was mention of NCC, and then you did say that NCC is a toothless bulldog. But then there was something that NCC used to do when I was in senior high school. They had these constitutional games where they had yearly regional and national meetings for young people. They gave trainings. There was active participation by senior high school students. And I used to be a part of the NCC club in my school. And
Thank
I think
you very much.
How long ago was that?
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much. The breakout session is over. Everyone is back to the general room. Thank you very much for your discussion. I hope you had a great time in your various rooms.
We did.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So we have to move very fast because of our time. So I was opportune to attend to spend some time in the Ghana room, and I saw the energy in the room. So much of energy. Well done, everyone. I visited all the rooms and I saw the brilliant discussion over there. Even though I don't understand French, in the rooms I visited where French was the language of discussion. But I believe that during the summary, we get a glimpse of what was discussed in each of the rooms. Without wasting any of our time, we'd like to go straight to have a summary of what was discussed in each of the rooms. I would like to call on David from Ghana. David?
Yes.
Can we have the summary of what was discussed in your room?
Okay, Benis from Ghana helped put the notes down. So if you don't mind, let me also call Benis
together. So it's
yes.
better he does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Benis,
for
please.
us.
Okay. Good afternoon to everyone once again. And in the Ghana chat room, we had some interesting conversation going on. And generally, I would say that we all agree that in Africa, West Africa, and right here in Ghana, if we wait on politicians to resolve these issues that we are having discussions on, then we are forever going to wait, because politicians are part of the problems we have. For instance, we did speak on civil society organizations, some of which are even formed by the actual politicians to counter or attack the main actions of the main civil society organizations, thereby making every action or work by the civil society organizations somehow fruitless. And so we are charging the youth as Ghanaian people. We are saying that, or in the Ghana chat room, we are saying that the youth should take the charge or lead in having discussions surrounding political elections and then the peace that we need. And David spoke on a bill that was passed in Parliament in 2009 to
2019, please. Sorry, 2019.
2019.
Yes,
Act 999 on
Anti-Vigilante and Related Offences Act.
Yes, that banned all political organizations, but political vigilante groups. And then we did mention some of them that belong to the both parties, major parties, the NDC and then the NPP. The NDC have the Azoka Boys, the NPP have Invisible Forces and the Delta Force. And then the NDC also have Bolga Bulldogs. But the interesting thing is that we concluded that even this act in itself, it's fruitless, because there were other policies that could have worked against anti-vigilantes. But the point is, it's the political or the politicians that come up with these groups. They have the full backing of the politicians, and the politicians are calling on the end of it. What is interesting in Ghana is that if any of these, even after these bills are passed and into law and everything, if they do anything wrong, and then we do expect, the people do expect that they'll be caught, they'll be arrested, they'll be dealt with according to the law. It is not done because they have the backing of the politicians. And if the politicians call the shot, then it's really a journey in futility. It's not going to work. So we did say that the youth generally, or in conclusion, we did discuss that the youth should take up charge, should lead the charge. We should have civic skills for the youth for youth in all levels. From 15 to 35, we are youth. We should have civic skills that gives them knowledge on what political rights and wrongs are. And then with these skills, we can create a friendly community.
Hello, Benis. So there will be time for discussing the solutions, to discuss about the solutions. So that particular room, the session, we're focusing on the challenges as we prepare for elections. So there'll be another room for to discuss solutions. Okay. Yeah, so you can see. Oh, yes.
We have solutions.
Yes, you can hold on to that. Thank you.
That's fine.
Thank you. Thank you, Ghana.
Thank you.
May I quickly call on members from the Burkina Faso room? Led by Yaya Dama.
Thank you very much. Yeah. Yes, thank you very much. We were two in our group. I was expecting my brother Musa Moyenga from Burkina Faso, but he joined Cote d'Ivoire. Anyway, So we had a conversation about the threats and the challenges that we have in Burkina Faso. Among them, we listed some of the challenges. The first one is the issue of insecurity. So, which is a big challenge that we are really facing. We don't know how it will affect the coming election. This is one challenge. And then we have the issue of inaccessibility to certain areas of the country, maybe due to the issue of insecurity or even other reasons. So it means that there are some areas where we won't be able to organize election. Inaccessibility. And also on the list, we have the issue of lack of education of citizens in terms of civil rights when it concerns election. So the issue of education is a very big challenge because people are not educated, are not well educated or enough educated to fulfill their civic rights in terms of education. So we need more education. After we'll come on the solution. So lack of education concerning election. And the last point on the list is women running for elections. We realize that in our country, out of the 13 candidates for the coming election, we just have one woman. So we just have one candidate who is a woman. So this is one aspect we think we can also discuss on and find solutions. So these are the 4 major issues that we listed as challenges for Burkina Faso. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Yaya. So I noticed before I call on Cote d'Ivoire. So I noticed that some of us did not. Some of the rooms didn't populate the document. So we only have Burkina Faso that populated the document with the points discussed, with the points from their discussion. So I hope we can still do that as we are summarizing now, so that before we move to the next breakout room, we can have that document populated. Thank you. Can I call on Esson from Cote d'Ivoire?
Yeah, actually, Christelle Zerbo from Cote d'Ivoire is going to present.
Okay, thank you.
Christelle, you have the floor.
Hello. Bonsoir.
Hello, Christelle.
Yes, we can hear you.
Bonsoir à tous. J'essaie de mettre la caméra, mais je n'y arrive pas. Voilà. Concernant la question, nous ici, on y a réfléchi. Les menaces et les défis pour la crédibilité des élections en Côte d'Ivoire, il y en a assez. Et l'une des premières menaces, c'est le flou autour de la Constitution de 2016. Parce que la Constitution de 2016 a été revue et on a le sentiment que la Constitution a été revue à nouveau. D'où la question du premier mandat de la Troisième République. Donc, cette constitution remet un peu les compteurs à zéro, alors qu'il y avait déjà des constitutions, le nombre de mandats a été revu, l'âge pour se présenter aussi a été revu, ce qui crée des difficultés. Et aujourd'hui, autour de cette constitution, chaque parti essaie de tirer le profit de la constitution. Pendant que le parti au pouvoir trouve les éléments pour se maintenir au pouvoir, l'opposition aussi trouve des éléments pour pouvoir dire à ce parti-là qui n'a plus sa place dans l'arène politique. Donc, il y a cette question-là. Le deuxième élément, c'est le code électoral qui a été révisité, pas encore le parti au pouvoir, mais qui semble être à son propre actif, qui semble être à son propre intérêt, sans vraiment tenir compte des réalités de la population. Et on a vu au niveau de tout ce qui est menace aussi de liberté d'expression, il a été revu, malgré qu'il y avait une interdiction, il y avait l'état d'urgence dû au coronavirus qui interdisait les rassemblements et autres. cet état d'urgence a été levé par le parti au pouvoir à des profits personnels, soit pour des funérailles, soit pour d'autres manifestations. Mais lorsque l'opposition aussi a voulu faire des marches ou organiser des rencontres pour les débats politiques, on a vu qu'il y a une loi qui a été prise qui interdisait tout ce qui est rassemblement, ce qui n'a pas été aussi du coup de l'opposition, créant encore d'autres difficultés. Au niveau de la société civile, il y a des acteurs de la société civile qui ont été arrêtés parce que ces personnes ont voulu exprimer leur non-adhésion au troisième mandat. Il y a encore, je pense qu'il y a une dame qui a été arrêtée qui est encore en prison et il y a 2 personnes qui ont été licenciées, actrices de la société civile qui ont été arrêtées tout simplement qui ont été licenciées de leur poste tout simplement parce qu'elles ont manifesté des jours ouvrables. Et comme le disait Essan, alors qu'on voit des hommes politiques qui, pendant des jours ouvrables, vont participer à des meetings et faire d'autres activités. Mais parce que ces personnes ont œuvré dans le sens de la société civile, ont dénoncé des points de vue qui n'étaient pas compatibles avec ceux du parti au pouvoir, ces personnes ont été tout simplement licenciées de leur poste. Au niveau social, nous avons dit qu'il y a des menaces. Et la première menace, c'est la question de l'ivoirité qui est en train de revenir. Parce que cette question, de plus en plus, l'Ivoirien se demande qui est le vrai Ivoirien, qui a droit à quoi, qui peut dire quoi, dans l'arène politique. Donc, ça commence à devenir des problèmes, ça fait ressurgir des ressentiments qui semblaient endormis, mais ça commence à prendre de plus en plus de place dans les discours, dans les propos des populations. Et à cela s'ajoute le fait qu'il y a ce sentiment de terreur qui plane au-dessus de tout le monde. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, dans certaines villes du pays, des personnes qui voulaient faire cette désobéissance civile qui a été annoncée par l'opposition, on ne sait d'où les gens viennent, des populations sont attaquées, il y a des meurtres, il y a des attaques, il y a des affrontements. Parfois, en lisant ce qui est les populations de ces localités-là disent ne pas reconnaître ces personnes qui viennent les attaquer. Donc, que ce soit l'opposition qui ne veut pas qu'il y ait le troisième mandat ou que ce soit le parti au pouvoir qui veut qu'il y ait un troisième mandat du président sortant, chacun utilise ces personnes-là, ces moyens-là pour intimider de part et d'autre. Donc, il y a toujours cette menace pour la population. Et pour conclure, on dira que les libertés d'expression sont violées de part et d'autre. Que ce soit la société civile n'a pas forcément son mot à dire. Il y a chez nous un acteur qu'on ne connaît pas, qui s'appelle Chris Yapi, dont on ne connaît pas l'identité, mais qui donne des informations qui sont vraiment crédibles. Et aujourd'hui, presque tout le monde cherche à savoir quelle est l'identité de cette personne. Et encore plus même le parti au pouvoir, parce que ce dernier arrive à faire sortir des choses, à dire des choses, à révéler des informations qui permettent aux populations d'être au courant, d'être au fait de tout ce qui se passe. Donc, et le dernier élément, c'est la question je ne savais pas, je viens de l'apprendre, la dame de France 24 qui a certainement dit quelque chose, qui a écrit un article sur la Côte d'Ivoire qui n'était pas au goût de tout le monde. Et comme Esson l'a dit tout à l'heure, c'est vrai qu'elle disait quelque chose qui n'était pas au goût de tout le monde, mais le fait que sur la toile opposant, que les opposants comme les membres du parti au pouvoir ont eu à se réunir, à s'exprimer, à dire des méchancetés à cette dame-là, ça prouve que les journalistes et autres, les médias sont un peu menacés dans leur capacité à pouvoir s'exprimer librement. Voilà. Je pense avoir dit clairement, retracé clairement ce que mes amis et moi avons discuté tout à l'heure. Merci.
Thank you, Christian. Thank you very much. Well done. Over to you, Zainab from Niger. Zainab and Mokhtar, are you there? I don't know if you have Mokhtar here and Zainabu.
Zainabu is here, but I think her mic.
Okay, so who else was in the room? Emily.
Oh, so there's something wrong with her setting.
Yes, Emily, can you please give us a summary of your discussion in the room? Okay. Oh, okay.
Not hearing anybody.
Hello.
I can't hear anything.
I think we are. I also can hear everything. I don't know what is happening.
I also can't hear anything.
Yes, I can. Okay. Okay.
I think you are the only one who can hear, because I can't hear anything.
Emily, please continue. We can hear you.
I'm not okay. Some of us can't hear her.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it.
Can we all hear? Can we all hear?
I still can't hear her.
Ayomikon, can we go ahead with the next group?
We cannot
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, so we have to go ahead with the next session because of our time. So let's quickly, so what we've discussed so far in our breakout room, so I'd like to just go back to the breakout room. We have just 10 minutes in that to discuss in that breakout room. So we're going to co-create solutions. So looking at the elections that is coming forth at the moment in diverse countries. So what do we think? So we're going to co-create solutions. We're going to map collective impact strategies and define next steps towards credible elections for this year and in the future. So what do you think? So how do you think these issues that you've highlighted so far can be corrected for towards this election and in the future, especially when it comes to issues around attack on media, attack on civil society groups, freedom of expression, and some of these challenges that we listed earlier. So I'm going to add you up to your various rooms now. So the Ghana room will still remain here while I add, while we go back to our various rooms. So we have just 10 minutes, please. And please, let's try to coordinate the rooms. I realize that we have a huge population in the Ghana room. So please, let's try to coordinate the room. David, please take note.
Okay, all right.
French and explain to them they switch back because I'm sure they can't hear you and they can't get what
Mikhail, sorry, who is about to speak right now?
No, we're done with the session. Moving to the next session immediately.
Okay.
Yes. So the rooms have been created, so we can now commence with our discussion.
Okay.
Okay, so we begin with David. Are you there?
Yes, I am here.
David.
Yes.
Yeah. So apparently the first one was supposed to be the discussion, and this was supposed to be the solutions.
Okay.
Some of the solutions we had are able
Benis.
Akwesi.
Okay.
Akwesi Sapon telling us a bit of them, including the civic skills training and CSO training.
Okay.
And all that. So I think we should discuss further and see if other people have other solutions, then we can add that.
Okay. So I think we can also look at retooling or providing the needed resources for the NCC. Because as per the last time,
yes,
they indicated that they don't have the logistics and the resources to work with. So we can look at retooling
the logistics. They always say that.
Yes, the NCCE. I think that will, as part of the strategy, we should also look at the role of religious groups or religious leaders. So the churches, the mosques, and the imams. When it comes to, because the churches, they have a number of people as their congregation. The mosques and the imams also have a number of people who come for daily prayers and then Friday prayers. So we can use them as tools. And then we can also look at the traditional authorities, the chiefs, the kings, the queen mothers. We can also
Dennis, please, are you writing?
look at them.
Dennis, please, are you writing?
Yes, I'm taking notes.
Okay.
So far
And
he's
then,
talking about, David, let me recap what you just said.
Yes, please.
You said
retooling NCC.
Retool NCC, and then NCC. We should have traditional and religious authorities.
Yes, we should involve the religious groups or religious leaders, then it's also very important to integrate the traditional authority, the chiefs, the queen mothers, opinion leaders in the decision-making process.
David,
and then
let me ask
it's
you
very
this.
important that we
David,
need, yes, please.
David,
Yes,
David,
go ahead.
when we talk about retooling the NCC, is it necessary for the NCC to rely on government for funds? Can't it rely on something, a body, to provide its finances so that it will be constant and not rely on any form of government for, sometimes some CSOs also complain that some of these national institutions end up becoming stooges of the incumbents and stuff like that. Is it really necessary to rely on government funds?
Not necessarily. They can look at external funding. However, it is also critical to look at the law or the act or the bill that established the NCC. I have always been of the view that we're using laws that we passed or enacted maybe during the days of the colonial era, and we are still using them in 2020, where the grounds have shifted bit. So so a lot of our laws are outmoded. They are not tailored, or they are not able to fit into current trend. So for NCC, we need to look at the law or the bill or the act of parliament that even established the NCC, to look at the gaps in there and see how we can look at a holistic overview of the NCCE, and then reposition the NCC to do beyond what it's currently doing. I think that's how we should look at some of these things as a country and as a people. Maybe last but not the least, I think that we need to have the political will. We need the political will, and then this is the time we need both the MPP and the NDC, because these are the two major political parties. In as much as we have the PPP, the PNC, and all the Equiadoncos and all the other minor political parties, we need the political will to be able to enforce the Anti-Vigilante and Related Offences Act of 2009. Sorry, 2019, the Act 999. We need the political will. Yes, 2019, Act 999. We need the political will to be able to enforce it, to say that regardless of whether you belong to the MPP or NDC or any of the political parties, once you are caught, they say ignorance of the law is no excuse. So once you are caught pants down, the law should be able to deal with you. And I think that last but not the least,
but this is the case where that the NDC refused to sign the final roadmaps and vigilante code of conduct in February.
However, it's been passed by Parliament from a bill into an act.
By the Parliament.
So that is binding. Whether you refuse to sign the final documents or not, this has been signed by Parliament, and I think that regardless of your status in society, regardless of your political affiliation, the law is no respecter of persons. You should be able to, you should be able to deal with everybody accordingly. And I think that maybe this is going to be very, very hard to do. But then over time, we've built our politics, and it now evolves arrived tribe. So they say that the people of the voter region, have allegiance or are leaned towards a particular political party. And the people within the Ashanti region are leaned towards a particular political party, the people in the center. So the politicians have been able to map up the country and then identify their strongholds. So I think that going forward, so we divide the country on tribal lines using our political argument. I think that what we should do as a country and as a people is that going forward, our politics should be issue-based. Should be issue-based. It should be development-oriented,
so that we select people based on their competence.
Based on their competence, based on what they say they will do. And then once you elect them based on what they say they will do, you are able to hold them accountable, say that you say you're going to do A, B, and T. Show us what you have done. Rather than saying that, let's vote for Kofi Mensah, he is from the Volta region. Or let's vote for Kwesi Mensah, he and I went to a particular senior high school. He and I went to a particular university. We were in the same hall. His father was my brother's mother. His father was my cousin's cousin.
David, so, I'm not cutting you short, but we have 10 minutes, so let's let other people contribute.
And before
we have only 10 minutes.
What exactly? They are discussing solutions to...
Exactly.
To the shrinking of the civic space, yes, what we discussed at first, in the first electoral threat.
Okay, you can go ahead.
So please, if anybody has anything to say, speak out, especially, thank you, especially those who have not spoken yet. We would love to hear from you. Akwesi, you said you had something to say.
Yes. I just want to share my experience with the NCC, and I'll make 2 additional forward. Listen, I'm a young person. But
you have to do that in 2 minutes. 2 minutes, please.
Yes. Listen, I run a young person organization, and I'm a young person. Yeah. Listen, the NCC office is opened. I didn't know anybody in that office. As we speak, I can text the commissioner on my WhatsApp any time of the day. She will appoint a commissioner to attend an event or to come and train somebody with a skill. We need to build partnership. It's very often we think that we know all. We need to build partnership. Their doors are open. It is true they are under-resourced and funded. You might have a skill. We have a tool. They don't have the tool. But through partnership, they have been able to adapt our tool. We have had events. We create the platform. They will come and participate in it. On the International Peace Day this year, we organized something on a TV. We created a platform. We invited them. They came. Okay? So we need to see how we can build partnership. You see, when you do that, help. The other point is that, which I want to talk about, is in Ghana, we need a national action plan on youth, peace, and security. Because that will bring young people into this.
Hello, Kwesi, you said we need to build
So he's talking about partnership and collaboration.
And national action
state
plan.
Institutions.
We need a national action plan on youth, peace, and security. Ghana has ratified the UN Security Council Resolution 2250, which is on youth, peace, and security. And there are 5 elements of it: participation, prevention, protection, and partnership. I don't want to go into that, but this is something that we can use to be, you see, we are looking at how we can be able to make sure that henceforth going on. Then I talk about the election cycle. After each election, is the only time you find a lot of people talking about peace and security is when we are in elections.
When we are election,
voter registration, voting. That is the only time you see it. After it, we all go to sleep. We go to sleep. The politicians don't think that way. We must adopt the same thinking. Right after election, they're in another election. So we must also program ourselves. Our programming must be linked to the same election cycle. That is not just a one-off. It runs. Then what I'm saying is leveraging on social media. I can tell you, when you say creating space on creating friendly spaces, that civic spaces people can engage. I have about 10 different spaces created on WhatsApp for young people and other adults who are commissioners and directors of organization. And by side, anytime we can discuss, we call it, one of the platforms we call Civic Chat. Anything happen in your community, sometimes they will video it and send it. We all discuss how can we solve it. These are practical. These are things we're doing.
Okay,
we have another one we call it.
If you don't mind, Akwesi, your initial point on civic, youth-friendly communities, civic skills, and then leveraging on social media, I captured those ones. So
those ones.
But I'm giving you an example.
I think Akwesi, you should end it so that other people can also.
There are new points that
it works. That
Akwesi, we are okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Akwesi. Thank you so much for your submission.
We see you. Can't you say anything here, please? We would love to hear your voice. Joseph, okay, Joseph is a co-host, so. Njambi is also. Is there any other, Bernice, you were making a point before we left.
I think I was making a point on the NCC. I was making a point on NCC, the fact that years back, they used to be very active, especially with the youth. And I was a beneficiary of participating person during my time in senior high school. And so for me, I do not even think the NCC, like David said, no, I think it's you who said it before, that they should not be focused on funding from political parties, because let's face it, if the politicians want to come up with anything that, I mean, conspicuously, they want to do anything, and you and a body will stand against them, then they are not going to fund you. There is no way they will fund you for you to stand up against them.
Of course.
And they rule the country. So if NCC needs to be active, and we are talking about retooling the NCC, then the NCC should be looking outside of the political space, getting funding from them. They will not fund you for you to stand against them. And so if it is retooling, David mentioned a point about we should look at the act that establishes NCC.
Okay, thank you very much. So we've exhausted our time for this session. Yes, the breakout session is over. All other groups are back to the main group. So thank you very much. So before we go into the summary, I would like to share with us the feedback form. So I'm going to share it in the I'm going to share it right now. So please, I want to encourage every one of us to quickly respond to the feedback form. It's a very short one. All participants, please, let's respond to the feedback form. I'll share it right now. So I've shared it in the chat box. So please respond to it. Let's have the response very fast. It's a very short one. So please, let's respond to the feedback form while we continue with the summary. So for the summary, I will call in on Burkina Faso first. Yaya Dama, are you there? Hello, Yaya.
Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm here. You are welcome. Okay, please, let's go quickly since we don't have enough time.
Yes, don't have enough time. Please, in 2 minutes, can you summarize the discussion in your room?
Yes, 2 minutes is even maybe enough. So for the issue of insecurity, as solution, we propose that a reinforcement of the capacity of our army to face the challenges of security. This is the first solution. Reinforcement of our army in terms of capacities to face the issues of security. This is the first proposal. The second one is the lack of education, which we talk about. So we have to really educate, to sensitize our communities on their right to vote. So education to vote. So this is yes, we filled the form. Yes, we already filled the form. You will find them in the form. So sensitization, that is one solution to the problem of lack of education. And also for the fact that we don't have many women running for elections, whether in presidential election or legislative election. So we need also to really work with women. Women should organize themselves in terms of association, in terms of groups or organizations to really have good education about elections so that they can be more and more involved in the issues of election. This is one solution. And for the problem of electoral codes, because I forgot to talk about that in the problems, this is one of the challenges. And for a solution, we propose that if there is an amendment of the Constitution, we support that, or we propose it should be done earlier before the election period. Instead of waiting for 1 month, 2 months to do an amendment of the constitution, which may create problems, we propose that it can be done before 6 months, 1 year before the election period. Because this year in Burkina Faso, they amended the constitution in the 25th of August, like 2 months before the election. This is not good. So amend the constitution on time. So those are around the major proposals that we have in terms of solution. And the last one, not forget it, as I said before, the importance of social media in terms of expressing ourselves about the ruling of the power. So we should continue educating also people about the use of social media, which is a very powerful tool that can be used by the citizen to give their opinion, and that may change many things in the country, because it is the case in our country now. So social media is more and more used by citizens to criticize the way the government is ruling, and that's helped the government to take positive action for the interest of the community. So thank you very much. I really thank Sylvie Touma for the quality proposals that we had together. I don't know if I forget something. She can also complete. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yaya. So before I call on the next country, before I call on Ghana, please, I want to confirm that we've started filling the feedback form. Please, if you have filled the feedback form, please, can I get a response from you?
I have filled mine.
Okay, thank you. Who else, please?
I'm currently working on mine.
Okay, thank you. Please, let's fill the feedback
I have
form.
also filled mine.
Thank you. So let's have Ghana.
Okay. Ghana, like I started earlier, I think we went ahead of the whole group, started giving our solutions before now. But then to go back, we were discussing active youth participation in policy making or decision making. And then in order for the youth to do that, they will need to take charge or lead the cause. We cannot wait on any politician to lead us or create any platform for us. We also think that, like Burkina Faso just said, there is a lot of space on social media we can leverage to our advantage. And we do that by forming partnerships. Partnership with CSOs, by forming partnerships among youth groups like we are having now, and then having discussions that favor all of us. We also talked about our religious and traditional authorities. There is one thing in Africa that we cannot do without, and particularly in Ghana. For instance, if we use the case of the Ashanti region, we have a revered chief. Everybody reveres the chief that we have, and we think that when traditional authorities stand up and step in, even in cases of political misbehavior, there is order. And so we should not do away without them. If there is chaos and we need peace in our local jurisdiction, or we need peace in any region, then our traditional authorities should not be left out, same as the religious authorities. We also talked about political will by the political parties. The NDC and NPP, which are the major parties in the country, they are the people that fuel the rage that we are all discussing. And so if we want peace, we want something to change, then they should lead the charge as well. They should have the will to say that we've had enough of this, we want to grow our countries, we want to develop, and we need to end or do things the right way. And
Thank you very much. So because of our time, please just help us populate the points in the document so we can have it. That's very, very important.
I don't understand that part. If you say we should populate in the document, which document is that, please?
Okay, I shared a document earlier with David. The document is a Google document. So yes, the Google document where you're expected to enter the points you discussed in your rooms. I noticed that Ghana is yet to enter anything, while other countries have entered theirs.
Okay, I do not have the document. I don't know. Yeah, I do not have it. So David.
Yes.
David, you have the document, right?
What you just sent to me on WhatsApp, right?
No, I sent you a document earlier when the discussion started at first in the breakout room. At first, yes. I shared the document in the room that for Ghana. Okay, let's continue, please. I shared earlier. Now, it's only Ghana that's yet to enter their points in the document.
I haven't seen the document. If you can share the link again, please.
I'll share it again. So
yes,
please, before I call on Cote d'Ivoire, please, I want to confirm that we've filled our feedback form. Please, if there is anyone who's here to fill it or if there's any challenge, please let us know. Thank you. Cote d'Ivoire, please, can we have you?
Oui, pour la Côte d'Ivoire, on a quelques solutions. Il n'y en a pas assez, mais nous, on a mis l'accent sur le dialogue parce qu'on se dit c'est l'élément majeur. Et concernant le dialogue, on a dit que les premiers acteurs avec qui nous devons échanger, c'est la jeunesse. Parce qu'aujourd'hui, il faut valoriser la jeunesse plutôt que de l'utiliser. On s'explique parce que la jeunesse est plutôt utilisée pour les questions de conflit, pour les mettre en avant, pour revendiquer quelque chose. On se dit, c'est parce qu'on ne prend pas le temps de changer avec la jeunesse pour connaître leurs vrais besoins, leurs réels besoins, et pouvoir se saisir de ces besoins-là pour pouvoir mieux construire à l'avenir. Alors, cette jeunesse qui est parfois désœuvrée en majorité, elle reste là et est utilisée au profit des hommes politiques. Le deuxième élément que quelqu'un a dit qui est très intéressant, c'est qu'il fallait faire le dialogue, mais ce dialogue devait être construit autour du respect de la Constitution. Ce n'est pas parce qu'on est aujourd'hui au pouvoir ou bien qu'on veut venir au pouvoir qu'il faut utiliser ce qu'on a comme ressource là pour pouvoir influencer les autres. Mais il faut pouvoir échanger, tenir compte de ce qui était écrit dans la Constitution et pouvoir avancer. Et l'autre chose, c'est que les acteurs de la société civile doivent pouvoir échanger réellement, faire ressortir les vrais problèmes de la société avec les acteurs en échangeant avec les communautés et par là pouvoir mener les vrais combats. Voilà. Merci.
Thank you very much, Crystal. We appreciate you all for the time. We thank you for your contributions, for creating time to participate in this webinar. It was a great time discussing the challenges in West Africa and Africa at large. We cannot just leave it like that. We have to face it. We have to find a solution. We have to find solutions to these issues. If we leave our elections without finding a solution to the threats that face credible elections in West Africa, the outcome will be chaos. The outcome will be crisis. So we need to find solutions. As young people, we don't have to be tired. We have to raise our voices. We have to stand together. We have to mobilize ourselves. We have to align. We have to form coalitions to ensure that we find solutions to these challenges. Before we call it a day, I would like to call on Frederick to give us a short remark. Hello, Frederick, are you there? Hi, Frederick. Okay.
Sorry. My laptop is not that. Okay, so thank you, Ayomi Kun. Thank you, Inspire Youth Network. Thank you to all the participants. Thank you to my colleagues, Chichi, Joseph, and Jambi. What can I say? I think this was a very productive session, a very productive workshop. I was in the Côte d'Ivoire breakout room, and my colleagues who were in the other room also confirmed that the participation was very active and high. So that's all what we were looking for. That's why we are organizing this kind of event, and having this kind of participation, we just encouraging Africa Hub to continue organizing similar events so as to not only discuss but also push CSOs to find solutions and defend the most vulnerable or continue to do their work in the country. So finally, I hope all what we discussed will help your different movements, your different organizations to, get more space to continue your work despite the current political situation going on. And we know that there are a lot of restrictions or a lot of laws that are restricting the space of your work. But we know that through this kind of webinars, through this kind of workshop, there are always new ideas for you to continue to work despite the situation. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for your participation. We keep in touch, and we hope to see you again in our future events.
Thank you, Frederick.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Innovation for Change.
Thank you.
Thank you, Njabi. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your time. Please, with the feedback survey, please, if you are yet to fill it, please take our time. It's a very short one. I want to appeal to every one of us to fill the feedback survey. Thank you.
Thank you.